What up, fishes? I'm Sushi Dave, and today we're gonna be cutting some beautiful bluefin tuna from Spain, 85 pounds. Can you handle it? Stay tuned. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. Ooh. Whew. I know what you're actually thinking. I could fit in this coffin-sized box. And this is from Spain. And we got 71.2 pounds, which is one loin, which means this tuna was about 400 pounds. It's a big one. It's a big mama. Let's have some fun. Ay, mamacita. Oh, that's my workout for the week. All right, we got this tuna here at the appropriate height to cut it. I'm gonna just unwrap it. It's nice and cold, packaged beautifully. So good job on the company for doing that. Shout out to True World. Let's have some fun. Ooh, baby. Okay. Oh, yeah. Almost there. Ooh. Oh, music rights. That's all we got. Baby! So this is a quarter. We call in Japanese is a Hon Maguro, which is bluefin tuna, which means like the base, the original, the master, the OG bluefin tuna. This is going to be hara. Hara means belly. For all you tuna fanatics out there, we're going to go through all the Akami, Chutoro, Otoro, Kama-Toro, all the toros you ever wanted. So a beautiful thing you can see here. This is going to be the bottom fin here. This is going to be the jaw area, which we'll get to in a minute. This loin, cut here because I only wanted the prime piece because I'm a spoiled special chef. The tail piece would come to approximately here. And the head would come to approximately here. So that's about 6 feet long. And this is 1/4. And this is 71 pounds, so let's say probably another 10, 15 pounds. I was gonna call it 85, just be like, good. 85 pounds per loin on the belly side. The back side might be a little bit less, about like 60, 70. So that's about 400 pounds. So these are caught when they are very young, and they're raised in these large, large pens. Right now we're using Spain, which is the Mediterranean. There's probably 2 rival companies who produce these amazing bluefin tuna. And they are strategically fed, monitored, and they don't harpoon them. They catch them one by one. There's definitely a secret of the art to that. One day we'll visit the fish pens and we'll see how the whole process is done. But today we're gonna break down, and I wanna show you a couple key points of the freshness and how we can tell before we even break down into it. Automatically, obviously to the eye, you have extremely firm, ruby red. All the ribcage muscles are nicely intact. No discoloration here. Also, I'm gonna flip around for you, but underneath the Kama area, it's gonna be a nice, beautiful, almost like a Wagyu beef. It's gonna be very spaced out fat. On the other side here, I'm gonna give you a little flip. Okay, so the bloodline we call chiai in Japanese, and you can see the bloodline isn't bleeding into the fish. It's still completely whole and intact. Also, it doesn't smell, and it's not black. It's got this brownish color, which may not look visually stimulating to most people, but that's the color we want to look for. And then the real test, it's not bleeding into it. So usually a couple of days, it will start bleeding in, and you know that fish has been sitting for a while. All right, got my knives ready. I'm gonna explain to you each knife, the use. Most importantly, I'm gonna break these rib bones here, and I'm gonna start processing it. This whole tradition is called Sakudori, which means Saku is those blocks you see in the sushi case, if you ever sat in a sushi case. And to get those blocks, there's a strategic way of breaking down the tuna. So Sakudori is the process of making these blocks. So I have to portion it. And everything in sushi is based off the 4-2 finger. So when we make sushi, I'll explain to you later, but the 4-2 rhythm comes from our hands. We measure everything with our hands. And a saku is going to be 3 hands. So 1 saku there, 1 saku here, and the rest is just going to be cut naturally. So I'm going to decide where I want to begin that saku process. I'm probably going to start right above this fin, because here is going to be a little bit of more like a bone and what's that word, cartilage kind of stuff, and just very difficult to cut through, and kind of have to be more meticulous. So the prime piece, I mean, this is the prime of the tuna, and I'm going to go through the different sections of it. But right here, I'm going to start. So 1, 2, 3. Make a little notch there. I know that's my cut. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to get beautiful full saku, these two. And this one's going to be a little bit smaller, but no problem. Any chef can work with it. So some chefs have their own style. I'm going to do pretty much 80% of my style. I'm not going to show you all my tricks, because then, I don't know, I might be out of business. So first thing I'm going to do is backhand. We're going to backhand the ribs here. So we're just going to go right over here, and one by one, release those. So you can see already, we're getting some leeway. And then all this stuff, I'll explain to you. All these things we're gonna keep. We can scrape this. This is great eating. Okay, made my markings. I'm gonna start behind this fin. Gonna be a little bit of a struggle. So I'm gonna show you guys everything. We're not gonna edit it out. Usually there's 2 people helping. Sometimes a guy will have a soft, like a hammer cleaver to help break the bones. I'm gonna use a little bit of the old elbow grease. Let's have some fun. And the skin is the hardest to cut through. But nice sharp knife, boom, beautiful. Woo! Woo, baby! So back to our 1, 2, 3 cut, Sakudori. So this is going to be the prize cut, so we gotta make sure we don't mess it up. It's about right. Okay. And then break that skin. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There she is. You can see how beautiful this tuna is. Nice and fatty. Look at the size of that fat content. Woo! Okay, and sushi chef, always very clean. Must be very clean. Dealing with raw food, also a customer in front of your face. You better know what you're doing. A little bit of bone in here, so we're gonna get a little cut there. Kind of break the back, because you don't want to have that jagged looking cut. And here's those scales again. Okay, we're going to use that knife once it gets down there, and we can pull that skin right off it. Right through. Gorgeous. Okay, we got the harder parts done, the bones, the bigger pieces. Now we're in good working size blocks. Now we can start making them saku. So we're gonna go through each one, trim the blood. We're gonna do a little bit left bones, and then just make some blocks. And I'm pretty sure you're wondering how fast we go through this tuna and how long does it last? And those are great questions. I get that all the time at the sushi bar. So usually sushi bars will get this size tuna if they are, this is bluefin tuna, so this is a higher caliber. And Long story short, I'm not advocate of freezing fish. Some fish have to be frozen, like salmons and stuff like that, because it goes into fresh water and it is susceptible to parasites. Very important. A lot of whitefish should not be frozen. We can go into that another time. Bluefin tuna, at this size, way it works is I will not go through this in one day or a week. At my caliber, I do omakase. I do 8 customers a night, 10 customers a night. So it's a little less demand of this size fish. The Japanese somehow figured out a long time ago that a super freezer as we call it, or a medical freezer, which is in the back, I'll show you guys later, is minus 62 Celsius. I don't know the math, that's like 100 something, minus 100 something Fahrenheit. I don't know, someone out there, comment, tell me the math. Well, that allows it, I guess they figured out that you can freeze tuna, and I guess up for a year, you can pull it out of the freezer and it is pristine. So it's very serious and they're very expensive, but they did crack the code in preserving these tunas, and that's what allows these companies to farm raise them at such big calibers, because we as the chefs can now hold it and we can order it in these large pieces, as in before, we were only ordering this much and we would have to blow through it in 2 or 3 days. So it made it very hard on the restaurant, hard on the chef, holidays, weekends. Now with technology, that super freezer allows us to give extremely beautiful bluefin tuna that is, yes, frozen, but at a new way of doing it. Okay, so there's a few ways of doing this. I could just take off the top piece here, but I'm gonna show you clean up the bloodline in like one shot. So I can see the angle of it, and what you don't wanna do is you don't wanna waste. So you wanna leave a little bit of the bloodline and then come back and trim. So you can see the bloodline, starting to lose it, which is good, which means I'm breaking into the tuna, but I don't want to waste any of it. And then, beautiful. So now I'm going to clean up a little bit here, a little detail work. This is the bloodline called chiai. Not very delicious, not very desirable. You can leave it in a bowl of water for a couple hours or even overnight, and the blood will soak out and you'll have this diluted kind of thing, flesh thing, and then you can cook it. That's like if you're super crazy about it, but most of the time it goes into the garbage. Get back in here. Get all that bloodline off. You can see a little bit there. And you got a little bit up here. Just want to get in there. And I got a little bit here. And it doesn't have to be perfect because we can get it later on. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna separate this right here. We're gonna go straight through. This is gonna separate the Akami, known as the backside, with no fat. And we're gonna get this beautiful belly side going shortly. And here's the bones here, 1, 2, and 3. And I still got some bone here, so I'm gonna remove these real quick. Use my smaller knife, and I can see the bone is here, through there, one more, and then I can just slowly you can see right there. And there you go. Again, a little bit of meat we can use, some discoloration, but you can scrape some of that, nice little hand roll or something. But again, not really a desired piece. This is gonna be a beautiful Akami lean tuna. I'll get to that later. Okay, so I know right about here on is the prime, so I'm gonna start my Saku. Now the Saku has gotta be perfect so the chef can work nicely with it. So I'm gonna kind of break off here. Got a bone, this knife, I prefer not to use that. So break that bone. We're good to go. And now this is gonna start the whole process of the Saku. We're gonna go through all the way and separate. And again, this is not the prime piece. You can see a little bit of damage. That's nature. Okay, now I still have a bone here and I got a bone here. So you can see that bone. You can go right underneath it and you can just follow it out. It's gonna give us a little problem with our knives. So we can just go right, and then there we go. That little bone, you don't wanna dull your knife. These very nice knives, you wanna use a petty knife. Okay, so the first block, I think we're home for getting the bones. And this will be the first kind of usable block. And as we continue, It's gonna get only better and better. For cosmetic purposes, I'm gonna remove this for you guys, but also show you how tough this skin really is. Like your knife, you can do this all day, you'll get nowhere. So we gotta give it a little bit of the deba. This is the head and guts bone, very strong and heavy. So I'm just gonna kind of. So tuna skin is like some serious engineering. It's incredible how thick it is, the structure of the scales, and the flexibility of it. Really cool stuff, fascinating. Nature has all the answers. Just gotta look at nature. All right, sushi fam, what you came for. The slow motion, satisfying Toro shots. That was all the blood and bones. You had to see it. Here comes the money. Don't forget, 4-finger, 2-finger, I'll explain later. Thumb, width of the thumb. We're gonna go here. See the width? A little bit of bone here, so let's break it. Beautiful. And then straight down, one shot. Now you can see there. Now this is the sushi trick that I'm sharing with the world, so you're welcome. We're gonna go underneath and we're gonna cut this way, parallel with the skin. And what you get are now these beautiful blocks. So here's what you came for. Why are your knives so big, chef? Why is the fish so big? All right, so now if I do that properly, one cut falls right off. And we got 2 bones in here, but that's natural. We're gonna break those. All the way through. Beautiful, comes right off. Boom. We're gonna do it again. Make sure we get all the way underneath there. Whoo! Look at that. But really the cool thing about bluefin tuna is all this fat. So when you get a fatty tuna hand roll and those scraps I had earlier, you can literally just take this fat and I'm gonna make a pool of fat right here. Check it out. And it just comes right off. Look at that. Pure tuna fat. And that's definitely not appetizing the way it is, but if I scrape off some of the tuna from the other pieces and I put it together and I chop it up, that's how you get a nice fatty tuna hand roll. All right, same thing, rinse and repeat. Save that, and we're gonna mix that with that fat I showed you. And again, the bloodline, you can soak it and then cook it. We'll see if I have any use for that later, or do a whole other video on how to use the unusable parts of tuna or fish. That'd be cool, let me know. Let me know down below in your comments. Yes, I'll even tell you how I get my beautiful curls. Tuna oil. Okay. Now, a secret is everything's based on the 4 fingers. So I'm gonna slice this top off. I'm gonna slice off that middle part again. So boom. Boom. Right about there. So it's gonna be our Akami. This is gonna be the lean tuna, no fat, and basically no tendons. So we're gonna trim off right here. I'll keep everything nice and straight. That's gonna be absolutely tenchin. This is like the softest tuna. So soft, so beautiful. Okay, and the 4-finger naturally lines up right where the Akami begins to transition to the fat. So what we're gonna do is when I cut through there, this is when we're gonna get Chutoro, the medium fatty tuna. Because the other one we have is Otoro Kama-Toro, which is that super fatty, crazy stuff, which all you guys love. Okay, so we're gonna go right there. Hi, Sakudori. And we're gonna go right through there. Beautiful. And there we we go. Now we've separated the Akami, which is the medium, the backside, nice and ruby red, which you're probably commonly known. And then now we're gonna do, again, blocks. And I'll show you guys the Akami later. I'm gonna keep it nice and cold in here. And this piece now is like ideal for camera. I wanted to really show you guys, I think it was very important to see the blood, the bones. Also, if that makes you squeamish, that's not good, because you need to know where food comes from. And it's very beautiful for a chef, myself or any other chef, who really preserve the integrity of the whole process. I don't want to serve you frozen block fish from a country I don't know regulations. I don't know if they put any food dye, pesticide. I know everything about this fish. I even know I can call the people, I can test the water. So this is a very clean part of it. So this is kind of like the more money shot. This is going to be very beautiful and very fluid. Get our first cut going. And that's that beautiful Chutoro. You can see it goes red to pink. And now we're going to start to see some rainbow of red. Arguably the best piece is Chutoro, because it embodies the fatty with the lean. That's up to you. Go to your local sushi bar, ask them for Chutoro. If you don't have it, you're not at a good sushi bar. Or they sold out, because it's very little that have the Chutoro. Thumb, all the way down, all the way back. One cut. Everyone knows the rules. Oh my God, look at that. That is God-given nature. What a beautiful planet we live on. Just giving us all these beautiful jewels of life. We're gonna go all the way in, all the way out, and it comes right off. Just astoundingly beautiful. And also, the reason why I keep washing my knife, if I went like this, and my knife's all got like that, I'm not gonna get a good cut. And also, it's just not the way we're taught. We're just taught to be super clean, each cut, one stroke. Obviously, I'm making this video just to kind of expose, or not expose, more just like I want people to see where tuna comes from. I don't expect you to do this at home, but you know, we're gonna make some really cool videos of things you can do at home, smaller fish, sushi rice, seaweed wraps, really cool stuff coming your way. But I really want to explain that, you know, sushi is a mystery food. Even to the Japanese, it's still one of the most mysterious foods, where it comes from, how it's made, the poetry, fish in motion as we call it. So I wanted to really just explain to everybody that why it's so expensive too. It's not just a fish, it's a preparation, it's a timing, it's a knowledge. You know, we have to understand everything about this fish before we even learn to cut it. So most sushi bars, you know, the chef, the head chef, as myself, cuts the bluefin tuna. Not because it's the hardest, it's the most prestigious, it's the most sought after, and you have to care. If you don't care, then you're gonna have all these jaggedy cuts, you're gonna waste these pieces, and you're not gonna appreciate it. And if it starts here from appreciation, by the time I drop that little piece of sushi on your plate 12 hours from now, it's full circle. And it's a beautiful thing. It's kind of the circle of life. I receive this thing, I give it to you, and you eat it, and you know, it kind of just goes back and forth. And the really fun part is I get to be very excited about this. And then during showtime or dinner time, oh, I'm still pretty animated and loud, but most chefs will be very quiet, but they know how good this is because they cut it. Somebody else didn't cut it, somebody else didn't process it, they did it. Now it's just firming up beautifully, and this is gonna be another great, gorgeous cut. And it's getting a little tougher now because of the sushi, the tendons. That's why sushi chef knives are so sharp. Oh, you can see, and this comes right off too. You can pull it right off if you wanted to. This is beautiful. And it's Chutoro. And again, so Chutoro, this is like a perfect piece. Chutoro means medium fatty tuna, and it goes from that red Akami to that nice pink. That's Chutoro. Now, I'm not a huge fan of it, but you'll see some sushi chefs. They'll make sushi, and then they'll say, I make it extra fatty for you. And they'll sear it, and the fat will drip off. You can see how much it sparks too, look at that. Woo! Ay, ay, ay. And that's how you get tuna bacon. And that's the leftover, that's the skin. Incredible, hard as a rock. Can't break that. How tough that is. Same thing, Chi, Bloodline, trim off, Akami, 4-finger, and then get some nice Chutoro, nice Otoro out of this piece, and then that tail piece is there, so that's the end of the goodness. All right, let's bring it around. Some beautiful tuna. Hey. Okay, on to the Akami, the lean part, backside, no fat. Okay, trim this beauty up. Okay, first thing we're gonna do is remove some of this excess fat cartilage. You can see it comes right off. Beautiful. I prefer to start from this side, the Chi side. Okay, Akami, same rule, thumb. Obviously, we're gonna get very different size shapes here, but as chefs, sushi chefs, we're no stranger to that. Not every single piece is gonna be the same. Ready? Here we go. Okay, beautiful, not too stringy. As you customers say, I don't like anything stringy. I don't know what that means. Okay, thumb size, and bring it right in. And because this has no tendons or none of those fat fibers, it goes right through. And this is pure protein, pure muscle, pure beautiful ocean power. This is going to be a picture perfect block. And a lot more difficult to cut than you saw the fatty. I've actually really put my knife into it because the drag is pretty serious because there's no fat. It's all protein, if you will. Ooh, look at the sun in my eyes. How do I look? Maybe it's him, maybe it's Maybelline. Okay, product placement? No?
Maybe it's Maybelline.
No, it's not. It's tool time! Remember that show?
Does everybody know what time it is? Tool time!
No, you guys are too young. Okay. I just can't, it's just too good. It's just too damn good. Beautiful. Bam! So Akami, I mean, just super basic as far as the, as you make your way down, it gets very firm. And these ones you can see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rings. Doesn't really affect the taste, it's just more the way you slice. Against the grain, with the grain, definitely against the grain is the way you want to go. But if you cut with the grain, I would love to see that video. That'd be awesome to watch. And the comments would be great. Well, actually, no, a couple of Japanese guys like, oh, he sucks. Don't say it about me. And that can be served sashimi style. You can do an array of garnishes, but now you have just pure tuna. Gorgeous. So this is called tuna paper, and it is designed to absorb the sweat and kind of the blood, but not deteriorate the color and preserve the fish. Legally, actually, in a restaurant, you're not allowed to even use paper towels. So and I agree, because it's terrible, and it rips off, and sometimes there's like logo prints or ink blots on it, and you definitely don't want to wrap your prestigious, expensive tuna in some generic paper towel. So tuna paper, super great, super handy. Whoa, Hollywood magic, look at that. So what we're gonna do is, one by one, lay our fish to rest. Some chefs don't wrap it at all, some chefs do, some do plastic, I don't know, everyone has their own style. What we do is, we wrap all these like little wraps of gold. And you know, while we're doing this, the chefs, you know, this is also the time that we still, you know, we're still kind of subconsciously inspecting it. You know, we see it, we feel it, the temperature, the texture. Some pieces won't be perfect, and that's okay. If a tuna is actually heavily damaged, we can return the tuna. Most of your Akami. There it is. Whoop, there it is. Come on now. I don't know that song. And now we're gonna, little plastic wrap them up.
And put them into the super freezer of death.
Now we're gonna wrap up the tuna, and even though it sounds boring and not very fun, even that has like meticulous things about it. Sensei, Taisho, whoever the boss of the shop is, will judge you just on your wrapping job. So usually as a young apprentice, you don't get to cut the tuna, but you learn how to wrap the tuna with plastic. And even that, it's like its own art, and it's gotta be perfect. So everything, boom, 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 boom. And the reason why we train like this is everything you do is in front of the customer. And you gotta be trained to know that every single action, every single movement is in their face. So you wanna be exactly the same as last time. You wanna be consistent, and you don't want any wasted motions. You learn to every single step, every single move is made just for the customer. We're going to do the Kama-Toro. Kama is the jaw. Kama-Toro, you people love it. A lot of structure here, bones, anatomy. This is where your knife needs to be sharp, because this is where if you slip on one of these pieces here, because you can see, like these are all, this is all like, there's a bone. Yeah, you slip on this, bye-bye. So I can kind of take my finger, and I can already feel where it's kind of going to be sectioned off there. Okay, now we're gonna use a smaller knife. Okay. Nice. Get this piece here. That's a good piece. That yields pretty good, and you can see that fat, just like Wagyu beef. It's just unorganized, beautiful. Okay, a little bit there. Definitely, whew, that's some good stuff. So I would get a spoon, and I can play around here, but this is more bone right here. You're not gonna get through that. That is fuego, papi. Mirando, okay? Pero, woo! Okay, Saku. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. Now that's pure Kama. That's the jaw. It's only gonna get better. Might be a little bit of bone. Let's find out. No, we're good. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. It's producing those two beautiful, spanking beauties. I do declare. That right there. I'm not gonna even take that piece on because I want to preserve all as much as I can. Also, we leave those on because it preserves the meat. But oxygen is, as fish's worst enemy. Deoxidizing, is that maybe it? If that's it, leave it in. If it's not, get that out. It changed the color immediately. So we want to leave on these fat layers to preserve the color transferring, and I don't want to deteriorate anything. So this piece right here, I'm going to leave a little bit discolored, totally fine. That's all, this is the fat layer. And then before serving it, then I'll trim it. But just for sake of purposes, you can see how beautiful. That's Kama-Toro, that's the jaw. Definitely one of the highly sought out pieces. Even these two little slivers I pulled out of that bottom piece, man, oh man. Oh man, I might eat this myself. So what I'm doing now is wrapping it, but I have each one in different sections. So for example, these are all Chutoro, Otoro, Snazu, Kama-Toro. And you don't want to mix them up. And I'm going to label them with a little system that I created. Every chef has their own, whether they put a kanji, a letter, a sticker, a color, a marker, they know which one's which. Because after it goes in the freezer, it's going to definitely frost over with the ice, and you won't know what's inside that fish, and you won't be able to pull the plastic off or the paper because it's so frozen, so you have to thaw out. And if it thaws out, and you're like, oh no, I took out 3 Akami. When the chef said take out 1 Chutoro, 1 Otoro, 1 Akami, it's a bad day for you if that happens. It's a very bad day. This is my super freezer. Right now it's minus 59 Celsius. One thing we cannot do is, this is the Akami, but we cannot stack it on top because you'll be damaging all the meat and you might get some discoloration. So I'm gonna try my best to leave it all out, and then tomorrow morning when I come back to work, I can go through it, organize it, and really section it like for every day of the week. While using that tuna for exactly a week or 2 to 3 weeks, depending on my reservations, on this size tuna on 70 pounds, I'm gonna blow through this in, yeah, 2 weeks, I'll blow through most of it. And that's me doing 8 customers a night, 10 customers a night. I can even write down how many grams per piece, per person, but then we're getting like crazy OCD.
Super zoom. Ah, zoom out.
Good talk. All right, Sushi Gang, we did it. I hope you liked that video. If you want to see more, please subscribe, like, ring the bell, all that jazz. We out of here. Sushi time, Toro to the chin. Woo!